how disappointing was it just to have the second quarter that you guys did and end the season the way you guys did tonight?
It's tough, man. It's tough. It's frustrating. You don't want to go out that way. You had the opportunity to, give yourself a chance, especially at home. So it's tough, frustrating. It's a little bit of every type of emotion right now.
What about this loss? Any particular element that might kind of haunt you most as you head into the off season?
For me, it's just, starting all the way over. One, watching other teams still play, that sucks. I think for me, just the realization of, I'm going to my 17th season, for me. So that's the reality of it. For me, just, you don't have many opportunities left to give yourself a, chance to compete in the playoffs. And that's all you kind of want, at this stage of your career, is just have a chance to get in there and, see what happens, and not necessarily playing, for me, just, being in the playoffs last couple of years, it's not something I desire or not a goal for me, so for me, a lot of that will be on my mind.
Obviously, it's easier if you're able to get stops to play with pace, but do you think that you guys could have still accomplished that? That's one.
If we don't have that second quarter that we had, I think we give ourselves a fighting chance. But give up 44 points in a quarter, it's tough. The run that they went on, the turnovers that we had, we kind of dug ourselves a hole. It was tough to get out of that hole, from that second quarter. Take that second quarter away, I think, we give ourselves a great shot.
DeMar, I know you literally only had minutes to reflect on it, but how would you just assess this roller coaster of a season, your one season here at Sacramento?
I don't know. It's, I think it really won't hit me for the next couple of days. It's probably the most I've been through in my 16-year career. The season that we had, it was a lot. It's too hard to kind of like fathom right now, but I'm pretty sure over the next, couple of days, it kind of hit, the reality of everything, we all went through.
DeMar, forgive me if I'm putting words in your mouth, but when you came here, I believe you came here to compete for a championship. And for it to end this season, to end this way, how difficult is that? Obviously you said the processing and everything, but how difficult is that realization?
It's difficult, like I said, I'm not trying to play another 5-6 years, and you only got so many years, that window, close quick, like I said, just, that was my 16th season down, It's just crazy to think about it next time, I suit up in Jersey, playing a game, it'd be my 17th year, so like I said, when you think about it from that perspective, it's definitely tough because you don't get many opportunities and you don't want to waste the opportunities that you have left either. So, it's tough, everything don't always go the way you want it to go, and sometimes that can be frustrating, but, I think, it's just part of life, like I said, the next few days, sit and think.
Two more.
DeMar, to that point, there's some uncertainty like here. I just wonder how much, the direction of the franchise and your own future is going to be weighing on your mind in these days to come.
Of course, you always want kind of a foundation that's stable and understanding, going forward. I'm pretty sure a lot of decisions got to be made from top to bottom. Like I said, next couple days, next couple of weeks, just processing everything that kind of went on. From a personal standpoint, that's going to be a priority, and we see what happens from there.
Last one. DeMar, what has the city been like? You know, I know the season just ended, but what, you know, seeing a sold out crowd for a playing game here, what was your experience in the city like this season, specifically with fans?
Whole year, you know, the fans, it's been great. I've been honored to play for some great fan bases, and you know, Sacramento Kings is definitely up there with that. You know, the respect, the passion, the love that they bring every single night, the city, the fans. You know, it's amazing. You know, it's hard to come by great fans that support you through it all. You know, you gotta appreciate that. You know, and I appreciate it every single moment. That's why, you know, from my standpoint, I always try to make it a priority to go out there every single night and play. You know, I never wanted to miss games. You know, miss a couple games early. You know, it was frustrating because, you know, I just wanted to be out here and, you know, represent for this, you know, organization.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Steve.